From the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II baseball coverage. Today's East Coast Conference matchup features the College of Staten Island Dolphins taking on the Queens College Knights. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, once again joined by my broadcast partner, Nick Durst. And Nick, the Dolphins come in off of a win last time we saw them here at home against Mercy College. That was CSI's last game. The Dolphins have not played since. They come in having lost 4 out of their last 5 against this Queens College Knights team. What are they looking to do to turn things around against their CUNY rivals here tonight?
Dolphins looking for 2-game win streak here. It's not going to be too easy, Joe. Queens Knights coming in 6-0 in their conference play, and they are really on a hot streak right now. 4 straight wins. Over the last weekend, they pummeled Lincoln University 16-0, 15-3, and 9-4. Previously, they beat Caldwell 11-1. So it's definitely going to be an uphill battle here today for the Dolphins. But for the Dolphins player to watch, of course, Dominic Castiglione leading CSI with a .420 batting average and the team best 29 hits and 20 runs. And on the pitching side of things, John Esposito, he remains the team best with a .203 ERA, a .97 whip, and he leads the team with 29 strikeouts.
Well, the Dolphins will certainly be looking to that duo, Castiglione and Esposito, as Esposito will take the mound for the College of Staten Island in tonight's game. But I did mention that the Dolphins have lost 4 out of their last 5 against this Queens College team. However, that one win was in an exhibition game that did not count in the conference standings. CSI took on Queens last year when the Knights had a chance to clinch a postseason berth with 3 victories over CSI. The Knights did earn all 3 of those needed wins. They picked up a 7-5 win in the first game, a 6-3 win in the second game, and then a 5-3 victory in the third game. So those wins much needed for the Queens College Knights against the College of Staten Island last year. And I'm taking a look very quickly to see if John Esposito pitched in those games. However, I do know that he did not, as he missed the latter portion of last season with an injury. So the Knights will get their first look at John Esposito in tonight's game, and we will break for the national anthem when Nick and I come back. East Coast Conference Baseball here on CSI Sportsnet.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Be sure to check out the Kettle Black's monthly calendar of events, only at kettleblackbar.com.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know I'm Right.
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins and Knights about to get underway from the College of Staten Island as John Esposito takes the mound for CSI. The starting lineup he will face is as follows. Leading things off for Queens College is the center fielder number 3, Jason Rodopoulos. Batting second is the second baseman number 15, Mark Cisco. Batting third is the third baseman number 9, Luis Antos. In the cleanup spot is the designated hitter, number 19, Reed Hoskins. Batting fifth is the left fielder, number 4, Colin Diaz. Batting sixth is the first baseman, number 25, Matt Flip. Batting seventh is the shortstop, number 7, Juan De La Rosa. Batting eighth is the catcher, number 17, Nick Barrios. And batting ninth is the right fielder, number 16, Justin Ventura.
Yeah, Joe, and the key players to watch in this one for the Knights, Luis Santos. He is leading the team with a .453 batting average in 18 games, which is incredible. Mark Cisco leads the team with 30 hits, 20 runs, 73 at-bats, and 19 RBIs. Fielding-wise, Matt Phillip has been incredible this year. Leads the team with 131 catches, 121 putouts. Mark Cisco has tallied a team-high 40 assists. And we are about to get underway here on Umpire Appreciation Day, live from the CSI Baseball Complex.
So that gives me the opportunity to show you my appreciation, as you are indeed an umpire. No munchkins for you, however. We did get you a Sicilian pizza pie. We hope that showed our appreciation just a bit.
Absolutely. As they say, America runs on Dunkin', but I tend to run on pizza.
And I'm glad to hear that your hunger cravings were satisfied ahead of first pitch. John Esposito gets set to deliver our first pitch of the game, and his first pitch is on the inside corner for a called strike one. For Esposito entering today's game, he has appeared in a team-leading 8 games, including 4 starts. He's pitched to a 2-2 record with a .97 whip and a 2.03 ERA. He also leads the team in saves with 2, in innings pitched with 31, in strikeouts with 29, and in opponent batting average against at an even 200. Here comes the 1-1, and that's outside for ball 2.
Probably the nicest weather we've had for a baseball game yet this season here today. Hit a high of 62 this afternoon in Staten Island.
Here comes Esposito's 2-1 pitch, and that's fouled away. Speaking of the weather, we got a lot of rain here on Staten Island yesterday throughout the day. We also had a lot of rain on Wednesday, and we weren't sure this game would be played, but good job by the grounds crew and the team taking care of the field to get it ready for a delayed start. This game was originally scheduled for 3 p.m. And that pitch is lined right past Esposito and into center field for a base hit. And Jason Rodopoulos is on to lead off the road first.
Rodopoulos with a rope straight up the middle, right over Esposito, and he's on base here to get things started for Queens College.
That will bring Mark Cisco to the plate. Cisco, the Knights' second baseman, comes in hitting at .397 on the season, and he takes a called strike one.
He was not happy about that. Gave a look towards his third base coach.
Cisco is the only player who has started all 20 games for this Queens College team, as that pickoff attempt forces Rodopoulos to slide back into first.
I caught on that. Ulaj running in, maybe expecting a bunt. I don't think that's going to happen with Cisco's high batting average.
And Cisco takes high for ball one. Cisco not only second in batting average, but in OPS. Tied for the team lead in hits with 27. And they'll check on the runner once again as Rodopoulos almost stumbled over the first base bag. Cisco is tied for the team lead in home runs with 4. leads the team in runs batted in with 18. And is second in slugging at 618 as he grounds one to short. Could be two. Flip to second for one. The turn and throw to first in time for the 6-4-3 double play.
Sip with the flip to Myers over to Kalika. Nicely done there by the boys up the middle.
And I've said it all year long. This Dolphins middle infield has been tremendous, turning two. That play, no exception. And there are quickly two away in the first inning. That will bring Luis Antos to the plate. Antos, the leading hitter for Queens at .443, the leader in OPS at 1304, and he's tied with Cisco for the team lead in hits with 27 and the team lead in home runs with 4. And the 0-1 pitch is up high. Those 4 home runs for Antos, a part of 12 extra base hits. The other 8 all doubles. That leads the team alongside Matt Flip. Here comes the 2-1 from Esposito. And that catches the inside corner for strike 2.
Esposito, as usual, we've seen this season, getting a lot of the Friday afternoon starts and expect him to go deep into the game.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's fouled away back beyond the visitors' bullpen. This next pitch will be Esposito's 14th. Count even at 2-2 on the night's third baseman. And that's it up in the air once again. Could be trouble along the right field line as Gardner loses the hat and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. 1 base hit for the Knights, erased on the 6-4-3 double play, and the Dolphins will come to bat with no score.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back from the CSI Baseball Complex where we have no score heading into the bottom half of the first inning. And for the Dolphins, it will be Jake Myers to lead things off. The rest of the CSI starting lineup is as follows. Batting second will be the center fielder, number 21, Dominic Castiglione. Batting third is the third baseman, number 24, Shendi Ulaj. In the cleanup spot is the first baseman, number 22, Stephen Kalika. Batting fifth and playing right field is number 11, Pat Gardner. Batting sixth is the designated hitter, number 14, Angel Santiago. Batting seventh is the shortstop, number 2, Nick Cipoletti. The left fielder, number 23, Brian Burkhead, will bat eighth. And the catcher, number 5, Nick Campisi, will bat ninth.
Well, no surprise for the Dolphins, their top 3 hitters are their top 3 hitters. Leading off is Myers, who's second in hits with 25, 18 runs scored, batting average .385, followed by Castiglione, who leads CSI with a .420 batting average. Team best 29 hits and 20 runs, followed by him is Ulaj, as the first pitch is in there. And Shandy Ulaj this season is leading the team in RBIs with 17 and is batting third best at 362. So the big three at the top of the lineup for the Dolphins.
3 very dangerous bats atop the CSI lineup as Myers takes a called strike 2. On the mound for the Knights is Julian Arcos. Arcos comes in tied for second in appearances on this Knights team with 6. And he has his first strikeout of the game as Myers looks at a called strike 3 on the outside corner for the first out. But in those 6 appearances for Arcos, he has pitched to a record of 3-1 with a whip of 1.27 and an ERA of 3.63. He leads the team in innings pitched with 34 2/3 and in strikeouts with 36. And he finds the zone once again, but that first pitch to Dom Castiglione. This Knights team comes in with a very impressive team ERA of 4. It's not often we see sub-5 ERAs as that's bounced on the ground over to third. Strong throw from Antos retires Castiglione for a quick second out.
Arcos, 3.63 ERA on the season, which is pretty solid. In comparison, you look at the Dolphins. Obviously, Esposito leads the way at 2.03 ERA. Next best guy for the Dolphins is Kehoe with a 6.66 ERA. So, as you mentioned, very rare to see that sub-5 ERA.
Shandy Ulaj is the batter, and he looks at a call at strike 1. Arcos wasting no time out on the hill, and Ulaj flies one out to straightaway center. Rodopoulos nearly lost his footing, but he recovers with plenty of time to make the catch for a quick 1-2-3 bottom half of the first inning. No score through 1 from the CSI Baseball Complex.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know 'Em Right.
And we're back on the ECC network and here at the College of Staten Island. Still no score between the Dolphins and the Knights through 1 inning of play. John Esposito back to the mound for the College of Staten Island, and he will face 4, 5, and 6, Hoskins, Diaz, and Phillip for the Knights in the top half of the second.
Joe, I love the way Arcos worked in the bottom of the first. Quick pace. You don't need a pitch clock with him. He was just pounding the strike zone, so I appreciate that. Now, Hoskins leading off here for Queens College. Does he remind you of a certain player on your favorite baseball team?
We have a Rhys Hoskins on the Phillies, so that's awfully close. Reed Hoskins, Rhys Hoskins.
They could be related.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Last check, my Phillies led the A's 1-0. I believe it was Kyle Schwarber who hit a leadoff home run in his first at-bat with the team, so we'll have to get a score check on that game and see if I'm still happy. But here at the College of Staten Island, no score in this East Coast Conference matchup, the first of 3 between these two teams across the next 24 hours. Perhaps less than that. They may wrap up all 3 games in less than 24 hours.
always great when you get that traditional CUNY matchup, Joe. Something that we can only see now between these two teams.
That's right. CSI and Queens, the only Division II programs that are CUNY members, as that pitch did not catch the batter. Hoskins looked like he was about to start towards first base.
And it was called a strike. He was not happy about that.
You don't see that too often. Here comes the 1-1, and that's grounded foul.
We'll see if we have any controversial calls today, but I did enjoy watching last night, Joe, that now, much like the NFL, the crew chief will have to give an explanation on the mic in the baseball game in major leagues.
That's something I love to see, is sometimes it's just so difficult to get into the heads of officials, or in the case of baseball umpires. And
we've certainly had some head scratchers broadcasting some softball games here.
We have, but on this Umpire Appreciation Day, I'll try and keep my opinions to myself, as that is in at the knees for a called strike 3, and Esposito sets down Hoskins on strikes for the first out.
Esposito with a strikeout there, and in the first inning, which was rare for him, he did not have a strikeout. Might have been the first time this season he didn't have a strikeout in the first inning.
Entering today's game, Esposito had 29 punch-outs in 31 innings. That last one, as Nick mentioned, his first of the game, and he's behind Colin Diaz, 1-0. And that's lined into right center field for a base hit. Gardner chases it into the gap, cuts it off. Heading for second is Diaz, and the throw is not nearly in time, as Colin Diaz has a one-out double.
Nice job of hitting there by Diaz. That ball just exploded off his bat. He found the gap between Castiglione and Gardner. Gardner hustling over, loses his hat, able to cut that off and hold Diaz to a double.
Gardner has become accustomed to losing that hat, chasing balls around the outfield this year.
He may potentially need a chin strap.
Perhaps anything to keep that hat anchored down.
As you have pointed out, though, most likely it's due to the fact that he has long hair and the hat size may be too small.
I think, if anything, the hat is too big to accommodate the hair. I think that's where the issue comes in. As the 0-1 pitch to Matt Phillip is bounced foul, and he's quickly in a 2-strike hole. Phillip comes in fourth on this Knights team in batting at .303. Fourth in OPS at .940. He is one of only 2 Knights players who has played in all 20 games for Queens. 2 looks towards second by Esposito, and his 0-2 pitch is skied foul.
A few people trickling into the stands here. Good way to start the weekend. See some notable basketball players here. Looks like Christian Velasquez and Jennelise Alarcon are sitting in the stands with some of their classmates. As you mentioned, Joe, the resident hall here is just a few steps away.
And that pitch gets by Campisi and to the backstop. Diaz will take third. And the Knights now have the game's first run standing just 90 feet away. But as you were saying, Nick, some of our student athletes trickling in from the residence halls. I have a feeling that we're going to have a bit of a larger viewer base than normal tonight. 1, because of this CUNY against CUNY matchup. But 2, this game getting off to a 5 p.m. start makes way for some cold weather late in the evening, as that will be good enough to get the first run home. And Phillip is retired on the 6-3 putout, but that brings home Diaz to put the Knights ahead 1-0.
Knights playing small ball here, and they'll take it with a great pitcher on the mound, Esposito. Every run will count, so they'll take the out for the run there.
Not to be lost in that play. Nice job by Cipoletti to handle what was a very tough hop. Made it look easy, as he has all season out in the field. Juan De La Rosa is the batter, and He's ahead here 1-0. Comes in hitting at 260 on the season. And he fouls that pitch off of his left ankle. De La Rosa with 50 at-bats on the season, 13 base hits. 4 runs batted in, 3 extra base hits, all doubles. He's behind in the count now, 1-2 after that last swing and miss. Esposito looking for his second strikeout, and that pitch misses up high. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. And that's hit up in the air, out toward right field. Gardner backpedaling, settles underneath it, and makes the two-handed catch for the final out of the inning. But not before a Colin Diaz double and a wild pitch lead to the first run of the ball game. The Knights take a 1-0 lead heading to the bottom half of the second inning.
NCAA Division II Community Engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island, where the Dolphins now trail 1-0. John Esposito surrendered a double to Colin Diaz, who then advanced to third on a wild pitch. And after that, a ground out was enough to bring home the first run of the ball game and put the Knights ahead 1-0. And for the Dolphins, they face a very tough task in this game, trying to scratch out offense against a very stellar pitching staff for Queens College. They find themselves facing an early 1-run deficit, and we'll look to turn that around with 4, 5, and 6 due up in the home half of the second inning. Stephen Kalika will be the first batter for CSI in this half inning, and he takes a called strike on the outside corner. Here comes the 0-1 to the Dolphins' first baseman, and that's bounced foul. Kalika comes in fourth on the team in batting at .314.
Last time out, we saw Kalika get his first start in right field.
And Kalika gets out of the way of that pitch, well inside for ball one. And Kalika with a good showing in right field. No notable mistakes, and came on to pick up the save as that's bounced to short. De La Rosa has it, and his throw is just in time to retire Kalika for out number one.
Good job there defensively by De La Rosa, able to throw out Kalika plenty of time.
That will bring Pat Gardner to the plate. Gardner comes in hitting at .204, 11 of 54 on the season. But when he gets on the bases, he's been dangerous. A couple of stolen bases. Fourth on the team in runs scored with 12. And he takes on the outside corner for a called strike one.
Joe, what do you think about the all-whites today, the all-white jerseys for the Dolphins?
Definitely my favorite uniform combination, without a doubt. And I know you were saying you thought that these white jersey tops could work with the blue pants.
Right, or the blue jersey tops with the white pants. But I think the blue on blue is just a little too much.
Like I said, when they wore those uniforms, for me, the blue on blue only works if you're wearing white cleats or maybe black cleats, but I think white cleats it has to be, and the blue has to match, which we spoke about during the last game, as Gardner was way off balance, flailing at that off-speed pitch for strike 2. Not only is Gardner fourth in runs scored, he's tied for third in RBIs, hitting out of the 5 spot in the Dolphins lineup, and once again he swings through an off-speed pitch, this time for strike 3.
What's interesting about the Dolphins lineup is you do have Kalika and Gardner back-to-back there, the two lefties. So that could always come into play later in the game. However, I mean, at this point, they both deserve to be towards the top of the lineup.
If I'm not mistaken, we've seen Shendi Ulaj hit fourth at least once, which would separate the two lefties if you hit Kalika third and Ulaj fourth.
We've seen a lot of Kalika batting 5 and Gardner down a little more as well this season. No Martin in the lineup, so it certainly makes a difference as well.
Tough to get all of the bats into this lineup on a regular basis. A lot of formidable hitters on this team as Angel Santiago falls behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. And speaking of dangerous hitters, last year, Angel Santiago was among the most feared hitters in this Dolphins lineup. He's had a tough time getting playing time. As we have another strikeout, Santiago goes down swinging, and
Arcos fell to the ground on that pitch, really putting all his torque into that one.
That was some follow-through by the Knights' starting pitcher. He's thrown just 20 pitches through the first 2 innings, had a couple of strikeouts in that half inning. He keeps his team ahead by 1 heading to the third.
Stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Notify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
And we're back on the ECC network. The Dolphins trailing 1-0, heading into the top half of the third inning. 8-9-1 due up for Queens College against John Esposito, who has surrendered a couple of base hits. And the extra base hit he surrendered in the previous inning led to the first run-up on the scoreboard for Queens College.
Yeah, and with Esposito on the mound, I said it earlier, it's a tough person to go against. So Queens College will take the run for the out. They're not going to be too upset about that because this could be the difference. For the Dolphins here, Esposito's your ace, and you are struggling on the season, so it's really crucial that in these games when he does pitch well, if he does give up 1 or 2 runs, give him enough run support so you can get the victory.
Once again, this game is the first of 3 between these two teams across the next 24 hours, and we will play 1 9-inning game tonight. The teams will then play 2 games tomorrow. The first game, 9 innings. The second game, 7 innings. As Esposito's first pitch of this third inning is hit into foul territory, and Kalika will run out of room alongside the Queens dugout. Nick Berrios will be the batter. The 0-1 pitch on its way from Esposito. And that's taken inside for ball one.
Both pitchers working at a really nice pace so far here this afternoon.
And the 1-1 finds the zone for a called strike two. And I know that's something we really appreciate as commentators, and I know many fans of the game appreciate that pace as well. And you said it before, no need for a pitch clock tonight. As that's it up in the air, another chance in right field for Gardner. And he makes the catch for the first out.
And what's great about everybody watching at home is you don't need a subscription for this. So you can watch this free right here on the ACC network. You don't need to go to Peacock. You don't need to go to Apple TV Plus. You don't need to go to Amazon Prime. It's free right here, and we take great pride in giving you a great broadcast every time out.
Absolutely right. And when streaming services began to move into the forefront of entertainment, as that's grounded over to third, handled by Ulaj, his throw on target to retire Justin Ventura for the second out. But once streaming services began to burst onto the scene now, between the last 3 to 5 years when they really became mainstream, beginning with Netflix, of course, even further back than that. But once those streaming services became prominent, it became clear that the future of sports broadcasting resided in those streaming services. It was only a matter of time, and we've seen some of the professional sports leagues relinquish the rights to some of their games over to different streaming services, and I think it makes things a bit more difficult for the viewer at home.
And I know you are personally very excited for Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime because you have membership for many, many years. But it's tough, having to get Apple TV to watch baseball, to watch a Max Scherzer first ever start, or Peacock, which most people have Peacock, of course, for WWE Network. But 9 a.m. starts for baseball this season.
And that one is lined out into left field for a base hit. And Jason Rodopoulos is on with a single for the second time.
Rodopoulos roping the ball twice in this game. Showing off a really nice swing there.
Now, to be completely clear about tonight's Mets game, you cannot watch that game at all without Apple TV Plus. Is that correct?
That is correct, Joe. And that does not help the game. It doesn't expand the game because, first of all, who's going to watch this game? Nationals and Mets fans, right?
Right.
And so you're not bringing in a new audience. You're just taking away the audience. Not everybody who watches SNY or the Regional Sports Network in Washington, D.C. are going to get Apple for this game. Also, you frequent this place quite frequently, Buffalo Wild Wings. Do you think they're paying for Apple TV Plus to show the game tonight?
It's a good question, as that's grounded through the left side for a base hit. And the Knights have a pair of two-out base runners on back-to-back singles by Jason Rodopoulos and now Mark Cisco.
Cisco coming in one of the leading hitters for this team. Nice rip there. And now Esposito has to work against the middle of the order here to get out of trouble here with two outs.
Now, I know that a lot of NHL games are exclusive to ESPN+.
I do not like it. I could not watch the Rangers last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who they beat.
That pitch is down in the dirt. Good block by Campese, as Luis Santos will be the batter with 2 on and 2 out. Now, I know the Amazon Prime NFL games weren't exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. Those games were also on TV, weren't there?
This will be the first season this year.
Okay.
And
that's grounded toward the middle. Diving stop by Cipoletti to keep it on the infield. And that play did save a run for the time being.
Tremendous job there by Cipoletti to knock that one down and save the run, which was certainly going to score there as Rodopoulos would have came around. But now the cleanup hitter, Reed Hoskins, comes to the plate.
Bases loaded for the Knights' designated hitter. He struck out looking in his first at-bat. A chance to extend his team's lead against the Dolphins' ace, and he takes a called strike one.
When you're a coach, and this is Coach Chris Reardon we're talking about here, this is exactly how he drew it up when he was putting pen to paper and writing in his lineup.
0-1 the count on Hoskins. And the pitch from Esposito is in for a called strike two.
The last thing I'll point about the Amazon streaming stuff is that, at least with the NFL, same thing with Monday Night Football, if your team is playing in the regional area. So we're in New York, Giants, Jets. That game will always be on TV no matter what. It'll be simulcasted.
And the 0-2 pitch sails way up high for ball one. One ball and 2 strikes, the count on Hoskins. Esposito looking for a huge third out. And there's another good block by Dolphins catcher Nick Campisi behind the plate.
Campisi has been very busy this season, very active in blocking balls or retrieving balls on wild pitches.
2-2 the count on Hoskins. And the pitch from Esposito is hit up into the air along the left field line. Could be trouble, and that ball is foul. And we have an argument over at third base coming from Chris Reardon. He can't believe it, as he is claiming that Dolphins left fielder Brian Burkhead contacted the ball in fair territory. The home plate umpire emphatically ruling foul. Well, and that's a 3-run call right there. If that ball is ruled fair, the bases are clear.
We'll get a look at this. It's a little tough with the camera angle, but in my opinion, the ball was in foul territory. So that's what comes into play here. He was sliding into foul territory. The ball was in foul territory, landed in foul territory, and that is why it was called a foul ball.
Count remains 2-2, and time is called by Hoskins.
So when Burkhead comes sliding along, his glove extended over the line, and that's where he made contact with the ball.
And does it matter that any of Burkhead's body was in fair territory?
The only thing that matters is where the glove made contact with the ball.
That ball's hit foul once again, and Ulaj runs out of room. Almost took a spill into the stands. Good effort by the Dolphins' third baseman as he made contact with the fence.
So in that situation there, it matters where the ball's made contact with the player. So the player could be in foul territory, make contact with the ball in fair territory, it drops in. At that point, it could be called fair. This was the reverse here, where he made contact with the ball in foul territory, and it landed then after the fact. But because he made contact in foul territory, it was ruled a foul ball.
That's why it pays to have an umpire in the booth as Esposito strikes out Hoskins swinging, and that will bring the top half of the third inning to a close. The Knights strand the bases loaded. Their lead remains 1-0 heading into the bottom half of inning number 3.
If I lose, I'll...
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and with like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I...
Nick Cipoletti will lead things off for the Dolphins in the home half of the third, and he lays down a bunt, and there's no one there to cover first base as Cipoletti is on with a leadoff bunt single.
Great job there by Cipoletti to push the bunt to the right side and get there safely. A little bit of luck there because he pushed that one pretty high, so the first baseman, Phillip, had to wait because he thought he was going to try to catch it. If it was straight on the ground, Cipoletti probably gets out. If it's pushed a little further in the air, it's probably caught. But nevertheless, Cipoletti is aboard with a leadoff infield bunt single.
And they will check on Cipoletti over at first, but he's back in safely. Brian Burkhead is the batter. Burkhead was involved in that play along the left field line in the previous half inning. That call could prove to be huge. And he swings through that pitch for strike one. Burkhead comes in just 9 of 61 on the season. He's played in 19 games and started in 17 of those, as once again they check on Cipoletti over at first. Cipoletti is 5 for 5 on attempted stolen bases this year. And Burkhead will show bunt and foul it back. Interesting that Burkhead didn't square up on the first pitch, but did so on the second pitch. Highly unlikely the bunt would be on here, though Antos is about halfway in over at third. He's creeping in a bit more as Burkhead bloops one into shallow left, and coming in to make the catch is Diaz for the first out.
So Burkhead unable to get that bunt down there on the second pitch and flies out to left. Campese to the plate now.
Off the bat, I thought that ball had a chance to get down, but Burkhead got more of it than I initially thought. And Diaz didn't have to move too much out there in left field. Nick Campese will get his 29th at-bat of the season right here. Through the first 28, he has 5 base hits. He's also drawn 9 walks, so he's proven to be a very patient hitter.
Cipoletti's getting a really nice lead over there. Curious to see if they set him to take off.
I mentioned his stolen base prowess. I think it's just a matter of time before he runs. As Campese looks at ball 2, and if there's a hitter to try and swipe a bag with at the plate, it could be the very patient Campese. He'll give you a few pitches to run on, and I doubt we'll see Cipoletti run on 2-0. As that's chopped on the ground through the right side for a base hit. Nice job by Cipoletti to avoid that ball, as he narrowly avoided being contacted by it in the hole between first and second. And now the Dolphins have 2 on with just 1 out.
Nice job of hitting there by Campese. Inside out of that one and shooting into right. And we got runners on first and second here. With 1 out, the top of the order coming up with a one-time ECC Player of the Week, Mr. Myers.
Myers 0 for 1 at the plate in this game. Struck out looking his first time up. And he takes up and away for ball 1. Myers has just 6 runs batted in out of the leadoff spot this year. Chance to add to that total right here. A base hit should score Cipoletti from second with good speed. And that's it out to shallow center. Rodopoulos coming in, and he gets there to make the catch. Cipoletti thought about it, and Rodopoulos nearly lost his footing again. Two away now for the Dolphins in the home half of the third. And And Dominic Castiglione will be the batter. Castiglione comes into today's game tied with Pat Gardner for third on the team in runs batted in with 11. Chance to chase home Cipoletti from second with 2 away now. And Dom takes on the inside corner for a called strike 1. Arcos has been efficient out on the mound. Just 30 pitches to this point. And number 31 is grounded down the third baseline, fielded on the backhand by Antos, who decides late to throw to first, and the throw gets away. 1 run is in to score. Here comes Campisi. The Knights just track it down in the bullpen, and 2 runs are in for the Dolphins, who take a 2-1 lead on a costly error by Luis Antos.
Well, Joe, I mean, right there as well, take a look at this. That is all created by Cipoletti with his amazing hustle. He gets there to third, and Antos was going to go to third. He didn't have time. Cipoletti was already there, so he had to throw off balance to first. Makes a tough throw. Phillip almost able to scoop that one, but unable to, and that ball goes into the bullpen. Ventura not there backing up because he thought it was going to third as well. So 2 runs in here thanks to the great speed and hustle of Nick Cipoletti.
That's a great point, Nick. As we mentioned Cipoletti's speed before, but he hustled down to third base, and Antos had to wait for that ball and field it on the backhand. It was a nice stop, but he didn't realize the speed of Cipoletti coming down the line toward third, and he didn't have a play at third base, then made a poor throw to first. Would have been better served just holding on to the ball at that point, and the rush throw got by Phillip, wound up in the Knights' bullpen, and Campisi comes in to score all the way from first base.
And I don't want to be too nitpicky here, but you can make the case Castiglione should be on third base right now.
Perhaps, but he was getting ready to run through first, then had to change directions and take a turn for second as Ulaj looks at a called strike 3. So the Dolphins do strand a runner in scoring position, but they score a pair on a huge 2-out error by the Knights, and CSI will take the lead into the fourth, 2-1.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back on CSI Sportsnet. The Dolphins now lead 2-1 following a very costly 2-out error by the Knights in the previous half inning. 2 runs came in to score, and right now that error is the difference in the game. And the first pitch of the fourth inning is bounced right back to John Esposito on the mound, and he flips over to Kalika at first for the first out.
Always nice to see pitchers who can field their position. They don't panic. One of our colleagues, Nino, when he pitches in softball, he panics when he gets the ball. He doesn't know what to do. But nice job there by Esposito fielding that one.
One quick out for the Dolphins right-hander, and his first pitch to Matt Phillip bounces in for ball one. Phillip grounded out his first time up. And the 1-0 pitch sails up high and off the glove of Campese into the backstop for ball two.
Campese gets a lot of action getting up and out of the squatting position there. It just seems like so many times this season, a lot of these pitches are wild from all the pitchers on the Dolphins. And you have to wonder if maybe that has something to do with the cold weather we've had to start the season. But right now, pretty much great conditions, barely any winds as we take a look at the flagpole out in left center.
I think it's fair to say these are the best weather conditions we have had all year. I think both the hitters and the pitchers benefit greatly from that. Unfortunately for the hitters, we have two very strong arms out on the mound, one for each team, and they've both pitched fairly well so far. Esposito has allowed 5 hits, but that number inflated by an infield hit in the last inning. Here comes his payoff pitch to Phillip, and that's it up in the air. Once again out to right field where Gardner is waiting. He loses the hat and makes the catch.
I guess the sign of good things to come. When Gardner drops the hat, he usually makes a nice play. I wonder if he even can catch a ball with the hat on. Might not be something he's used to.
He has been very busy out in right field this evening now as we approach 6 p.m.
So Arcos gave up the 2 runs.
That's it out to straightaway center. It's hit deep. Castiglione chases it back onto the warning track, and he makes the catch. Nice play by the Dolphins center fielder, and it's a 1-2-3-4 for John Esposito. The Dolphins maintain a 1-run lead heading into the bottom half of the 4th inning.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
And we are back on CSI Sportsnet. Bottom half of the 4th inning about to get started from the College of Staten Island. CSI leads Queens 2-1. Both pitchers have pitched well so far. 2 unearned runs allowed by Julian Arcos in the previous inning, thanks to a 2-out error over at third base. On the other side, John Esposito has allowed just 1 run and has scattered 5 base hits across the first 4 innings.
Very good pitchers duel. And
Stephen Kalika hits one out to center field and unable to make the grab on the backhand.
And that's where that wet grass comes into play there, as he took a spill there. Hope he's okay, as Rodopoulos, when sliding down, lost his footing.
That one hit right off of his glove. That goes down as a base hit, but I don't think that can go down as a hit. That hit right off of Rodopoulos' glove. What do you think, Nick?
I thought it hit the ground first, but
okay.
I could be wrong.
Going to be just about impossible to tell on a replay. I thought he hit the ball on the way down with the backhand, but I could be mistaken, as that's through for a base hit for Pat Gardner. Any luck?
I mean, I could play the replay here, but I don't see anything that would make me think anything either way. Tough camera angles.
Unsurprising. We don't have that hero cam capability yet.
Oh, we should start putting the umpiring cam out there. Put a little umpire cam out there on the umpire. Get a great view of all the action.
So officially, it's a base hit for Kalika to lead off the inning. Certainly a base hit for Gardner, as that was a tough play in the hole for Cisco. Did a nice job to get a glove on it, but couldn't finish the play. And now Angel Santiago is the batter with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, the question is, will you check with the official scoring team in between innings about Rodopoulos?
I'll ask, but if they ruled it a hit, then it definitely hit the grass first. Because I know that they're aware that when the ball hits off of a fielder's glove, it's an error. So I don't think I need to get clarification, but I will. Just my inquisitive nature over here at the commentary desk, and it gives me an excuse to visit the room where they have food. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on the Dolphins' designated hitter. And Santiago lines one the other way and into right field for a base hit. Kalika is being waved home as that ball is bobbled out in right field by Ventura. That allows Gardner to advance to third, and the Dolphins now lead it 3-1.
Well, nice hustle there by Kalika to come around. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it, but he did. And that is a tremendous job of hitting there by Santiago. But we'll have to see if the error goes on the board there on Ventura, because I think that's the reason why perhaps Kalika was able to score.
Now, I'm not sure the error is the reason Kalika scored. It is certainly the reason that Gardner stands over at third base. So regardless of whether or not Kalika comes in, you have to charge an error on that play out in right field for allowing Gardner to advance.
Well, now, with the error not going up, we have a reason for you certainly to visit the official scorer's room in between innings.
Absolutely. Nick Cipoletti squared up to bunt at that first pitch and is behind in the count, 0-1. And that's it on the ground to second. Could be 2. Over to second for 1. The throw over to first is not in time from De La Rosa. Once again, good hustle from Nick Cipoletti to beat out that double play. The 4th Dolphins run comes in to score, and CSI now leads it 4-1.
Cipoletti's base running is wreaking havoc here against Queens College. Tremendous hustle for him, and a run comes in. Dolphins up 4-1 now in the bottom of the 4th. Brings Gardner to the plate. Burkhead to the plate as Cipoletti is on.
Cipoletti, the runner, over at first. Burkhead at the plate in this game is 0 for 1. Flew out to left field in his first plate appearance. And he chops one back to the mound. Another chance for 2. And that throw to first won't be in time. It's off the front of the Knights dugout, and Burkhead got caught as he took a turn for second. That was quite the rebound off the netting in front of the Knights dugout, and Burkhead is hung out to dry over at first. He's tagged out, but not before the Dolphins score 2 more, and they now lead 4-1 as we head to the 5th inning.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back on the ECC network as Dolphins starting pitcher John Esposito now has a 3-run lead to work with. The Dolphins add 2 more in the bottom half of the 4th. And Nick, the Dolphins have done all of the little things right in this game. Good defensive play, good base running, and they've come through with some big 2-out hits.
Absolutely, as that pitch is swung on and missed. And right now, the story of the game is certainly Cipolletti's great base running and Esposito's pitching. Esposito, nice little lead here. He's getting up 5 hits, 1 run, is 2 strikeouts today.
There's another one as Esposito quickly sets down Nick Berrios swinging for the first out, and Justin Ventura will be the batter.
We have been calling games here for about a month at the college level, and the major leagues got underway yesterday and today, and we'll give you some scoring updates from around the league, Joe, while we have a chance here. So we'll go with your Phillies lead of the A's 7-5. Gotta love the opening the season with interleague play, even though everybody's in the DH. So
that's it on the ground to third, where Ulaj handles it. And Kalika stays anchored to the bag, and Ventura is retired for the second
time
out.
Today that Ulaj has thrown the ball a little off, but Kalika's done a good job staying on the bag there. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Orioles are in a 1-1 tie, but it's the bottom of the 8th. Tampa Bay is home, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. The Dodgers are beating the Rockies right now in the bottom of the 5th, 5-2. Seattle up on the Twins, 2-1. The San Francisco Giants are currently beating the Marlins 3-0 at home on the bottom of the 5th. The Detroit Tigers beat the White Sox 5-4. And the Yankees came back and won it in the 11th, 6-5.
Too bad. Hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
Not as much as I hate to see a Mets win, though. As that's hit up in the air, foul over our press box.
Well, that all comes down to the leadoff runner on the runner on second base to start extra innings.
No, thank you.
Hard pass.
Not a fan, as we have made clear on this broadcast many times before. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count on the night's center fielder, and Esposito cannot catch the inside corner with that pitch.
Don't mind it as a broadcaster, but hate it as a fan and hate it as a player.
I hate it either way. It doesn't matter if I'm broadcasting, watching as a fan, making the rules. Don't like it. Cipolletti fields that on the backhand and throws out Rodopoulos for the 3rd out of the inning. So a quick 1-2-3 5th for John Esposito. He settled into quite the groove here these last 2 innings. His team leads 4-1.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back from the College of Staten Island, where the Dolphins look to add to a 3-run lead. Our score 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th, as Nick Campese looks at ball one and then takes a called strike on the outside corner. Campese singled in his last at-bat. And he fouls that pitch away for strike 2. Dolphins with 4 runs on 5 base hits in this game. 1 run on 5 hits for the Knights. Count even on the Dolphins catcher at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that's it hard on the ground to short, handled by De La Rosa, and his throw over with plenty of time to retire Campese for the first out.
De La Rosa has played a nice and smooth shortstop today, showing off some nice range.
That will bring up Jake Myers. He's 0 for 2, has struck out and flown out in 2 at-bats. And he lines one along the first baseline. Nice sliding stop by Phillip. And he steps on the bag for out number 2.
Nice shot there by Phillip going over to the line to stop that one and put out himself.
3 unassisted for the second out of the inning. And Dominic Castiglione will be the batter. Castiglione is 0 for 2, grounded out and reached on an error. He's behind in the count here, 0-1. And the pitch from Arcos is down and away. Castiglione also had a very nice play out in center field, chasing a long fly ball onto the warning track and making a running catch, as he will add a base hit to his evening. He's on with a 2-out single.
Nice hit there, and that's the Dolphins' 6th hit today. 4 runs scored, and they're also helped by the errors as well from Queens College. But right now the key for the Dolphins show, Esposito's pitching well, and they have not made any errors.
A clean defensive game in the field goes a long way to winning games at any level, but especially the collegiate level. As we've seen many games lost out in the field time and time again, the Dolphins have been perfect defensively so far, as Ulaj hits one out to shallow left, and that ball is down. Never stopping was Castiglione. He goes first to third. They will throw behind Ulaj at first, and he just gets back. Great base running by Dom Castiglione as Ulaj is on with a 2-out single.
Well, Jay, you know what they say, 2 outs for anything, so he's already running on contact. Doesn't stop his momentum, so it's going to fall, and he's able to get there to third base.
Well, something to add to the good pitching and great defense has been phenomenal base running and tremendous hustle by the Dolphins in this game. They have done all of the little things so far, and to this point, It's added up to a 3-run lead with a chance for more here, as their cleanup hitter, Stephen Kalika, will be the batter when the action resumes.
We'll have a mound visit here. And early on, Arcos was cruising and did give up those 2 runs, but hard to put them all on him. I mean, there's 4 earned runs charged to him right now. However, there were some errors in that inning that certainly did not help his cause, but 4 strikeouts for him today as well. Key thing for him is no walks, so he's done a great job in that aspect.
Well, if you were saying there are 4 earned runs on the stat sheet, you know what that means. Another trip down the hall for me.
Another trip down the hall.
Need to get that fixed. That 2-out error scored 2 unearned runs.
That's what I was thinking before.
Now, did that go down as a fielder's choice or an error? I don't think it matters because the next out was recorded, which means the runners would have been on second and third. So I don't think it matters. The throwaway is ultimately the reason the 2 runs scored, but we can double-check the play-by-play and make sure we have that right.
So I think the official scores, the thought process there was that the 2 runs scored on the error, but they were already on base because of Arcos. So that's why he probably put it as earned runs.
Well, that doesn't matter, so that's wrong. As that pitches in for a called strike 1.
You are a fairy hawk, Joe, when it comes to getting the good stats. That's why you did such a great job for many years, being the official statistician of CSI Athletics.
1 ball and 1 strike to count on Kalika, and he takes outside for ball 2.
Arcos will be very happy to see his ERA adjusted at the conclusion of this inning.
Well, I'll tell you this. If it's not adjusted now, our ACC, Joe Mash, will be getting a call and a request to adjust it. So I'm making his job easier.
As that ball goes flying into the stands.
That evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Arcos 1 big pitch away from getting out of this inning unscathed. Stephen Kalika looking to extend the Dolphins' lead beyond 3 runs. And the 2-2 is fouled away once again.
Nice to be able to have the window open in here in our booth today. Not really having to battle the elements at this point.
At the rate this game is going, we won't have to. We're moving right along as Kalika swings and misses at that breaking ball for strike 3, and that's a big strikeout for Julian Arcos and the Knights. Their deficit remains 3 runs heading to the 6th. Our score remains 4-1.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know Right.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins still lead it 4-1. As we begin the sixth inning from the CSI Baseball Complex, Mark Cisco is the batter for the Knights, and he's behind 0-1. Cisco 1 for 2 at the plate, has grounded out and singled in 2 plate appearances, and he went around there on the half swing for strike 2.
Well, the stats have been adjusted, Joe. Although, I got to check the hit tally there to see if that was adjusted. But two of the earned runs taken off of Arcos. But unfortunately for the Dolphins, Castiglione, he loses RBIs as well.
Well, there's just no way that he gets credited with RBIs on that play, so that would be the right scoring decision. And you know I am a fan of precise scoring, so we had to get that taken care of. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on the Knights' second baseman. And Esposito's pitch bounces past Campisi for ball 3. The official lines for both teams, for the Knights, 1 run on 5 hits and 2 errors. For the Dolphins, 4 runs on 7 hits, no errors. And the payoff pitch from Esposito is fouled straight back. Tonight's broadcast is our first broadcast of the weekend, of course, and we have much more to come from the College of Staten Island throughout the remainder of the weekend, as Esposito, who was ahead in this at-bat, at one point 0-2, loses Cisco to a walk. And for Esposito, that walk is his first.
Certainly a rarity there for him to lose. But yeah, Joey, like you mentioned, it's going to be very busy here over the next 7 days at the complex here. We got some softball over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, weather permitting. And then a very big football game coming up Thursday, which we haven't seen here in quite some time.
That's right. Students take on faculty and staff. The faculty and staff has quite the winning streak going, and we'll look to continue that.
I would assume if you're a student and you're listening and you want to participate, just go see Sal Caruso in the athletic department.
Shoot him an email, visit him in his office, and you can sign up.
He will be at Madison Square Garden on Sunday as well.
He will. Sal and I will be talking strategy, as that pickoff was awfully close over at first, and Cisco just able to get back in safely. But for those who are interested, that game takes place next Thursday. Contact Sal Caruso. I believe his email is salvatore.caruso@csi.cuny.edu.
That game will not be broadcast, though.
You have to play.
You have to play, or you come watch.
You can.
It'll be at the soccer field.
That's right.
Plenty of seats there. Beautiful stands.
If you tell us how great the broadcast is, we'll take it easy on you out there. We'll make sure you get some catches, whoever comes up to us and sends us their well wishes for the rest of the season and compliments on what we've done so far this year.
There is a great chance that you will get some sort of injury in that game.
I don't know about that. I might feel it the next day. I typically don't get injured during the game. I just don't recover well. That's my issue, as Luis Santos was retired on that fly ball to center field, and Reed Hoskins will be the batter. Hoskins is 0 for 2, has struck out twice, once with the bases loaded. And the Dolphins have done a great job all season long managing the run game, but you can see how committed John Esposito is. Regardless of who's on the base paths, what base they're stationed at, he is always conscious of the base runners, and it has not been easy to run on the Dolphins' ace so far this year.
Well, the best pitchers are always the ones that are also the best at holding the runners on.
Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that we have stats for stolen bases attempted against each pitcher, as that throw skips in, and it is right on target. Cisco is tagged out. Nicely done by Nick Campese and Jake Myers. That was a tough throw to handle for the Dolphins' second baseman.
Well, Joe, first, right off the hand there of Campese, I thought that was going to be a really tough play there, as the throw was kind of tailing towards the right, but it actually worked out perfectly as it intercepted the runner, and Myers was right there to put the tag on, so threw the ball into the runner, and it worked out from there.
I'm not sure Campese could have made a better throw. There was nobody covering second base, so Campese had to wait.
Perfect.
Myers came moving in from his position at second, received the throw on the backhand, and as you said, Nick, that throw perfectly in line with the runner, and all Myers had to do is move his glove about 6 inches forward and tag Cisco out. And that hurts as Hoskins draws the walk. Now, on a 2-0 pitch, you don't often see a base runner choose to go on a 2-0 pitch, especially when the pitcher usually has to come in with a strike. Now, Esposito did not throw a strike, and perhaps a hit and run may have been on there. Tough on 2-0, but
yeah, certainly
it didn't work out.
It's going to be a hit and run, even if it's a really bad pitch. You really can't leave your base runner hanging there. You have to swing.
The Dolphins' middle infielders almost left their catcher hanging by not covering second base, but Myers with a tremendous recovery and perhaps an even better throw by Campese.
That's the first time this season I've seen a runner thrown out at second base doing any games here.
I've seen at least one or two. For Cisco, that's the first time he's been thrown out attempting to steal a base this year. He came into the game 3 of 3 on attempted stolen bases. So that's popped up foul. And the count runs to 1 ball and 2 strikes on Colin Diaz. You could make the case that so far, the Dolphins have played their most complete home game of the season. To this point, they've handled just about every aspect of the game very well. Defensively, they've gotten some strong play. Their base running has been phenomenal. They swung the bats well, 7 hits. And to no surprise, John Esposito is once again delivering a very strong performance out on the mound.
Doing a great job here all around with the basic fundamentals, but for Queens College, still plenty of time left here. It's Matt the comeback.
And that pitch is foul-tipped off the glove of Campese. So on 3-2, Hoskins got a head start from over at first, and he will head back.
Well, we'll do it again here. Hoskins sure to be taken off once again. Kalika holding him on.
There he goes, and Diaz fouls that pitch back. Diaz does have an extra base hit in this game. He's doubled and grounded out in 2 at-bats, and with Hoskins running, an extra base hit could plate a run for the Knights here. And that is swung on and missed by Diaz. Esposito powered that pitch right past the Knights' left fielder. And that strikeout for John Esposito is his 4th. And his team will lead by 3 runs heading to the bottom half of the 6th.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
Pat Gardner is the batter for CSI to open up the home sixth, and he dribbles one out just about 5 feet in front of home plate. It's handled easily by Nick Berrios for the first out. And Angel Santiago will be next. Santiago is 1 for 2, has struck out and singled in 2 plate appearances. This game moving right along as we're about an hour and 25 minutes in, with 1 out in the home half of the 6th inning. And the 0-1 pitch to Santiago is taken down in the dirt for a ball.
Well, Joe, I do see some action in the Dolphins bullpen, which is a little surprising. What do you have as the unofficial pitch count for Esposito at this point?
87. That's chopped foul by Santiago.
Hasn't pitched in 7 days. I would assume we're going to at least see him start the next inning.
I would say that's a safe bet. Any further than that, I think it depends on how far head coach Mike Morrow wants to see him go over 100 pitches. That's hit hard on the ground to short. De La Rosa handles it and throws out Santiago for the second out. That will bring Nick Cipoletti to the plate.
Esposito, we would assume his next start probably will not. I don't think he's going to pitch the Tuesday game versus Dominican. So his next start will probably be next Friday at Dieuville, and they're going to start with a 11 a.m. start there for the doubleheader up in Buffalo.
It's always so hard to figure out when a pitcher's next start will be without asking the head coach. But taking a look at the Dolphins' schedule, as you said, they take on Dieuville in a 3-game series, a double next Friday and a single on Saturday, all of those games being played in Buffalo.
Right.
I think there's a good chance we do see Esposito open up that conference 3-game set. So I think that's a safe bet that he starts at least one of those 3 games. I don't think we'll see him before that. If we do, it would be on Tuesday against Dominican. And very quickly, Nick Cipoletti is set down on strikes for the 3rd out of the inning. So it's a 1-2-3-6 for Julian Arcos, but his team is still trailing by 3 runs. Our score, 4-1 after 6.
Car is damaged. Where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4890.
Seventh inning about to get started from the College of Staten Island as this game is less than 90 minutes old, and we are 2/3 of the way through from the College of Staten Island. The Dolphins leading Queens College by a score of 4-1. As I mentioned during the pregame, the Dolphins have dropped 4 out of their last 5 games against this Queens College team, and they look to turn that around beginning here tonight. A chance to continue that tomorrow, as they will take on the Knights on the road, though I should mention the first of those 5 games, 4 of which the Dolphins have lost. The first game of those 5 was played all the way back in 1990. So the Dolphins 1-3 against Queens last season. 3 of those games counted in the conference standings, and those are the 3 games the Dolphins lost. Matt Phillip will lead things off for the Knights in the 7th, and he takes out of the zone for ball 1.
Curious to see how the pitching staff is managed here with 3 games in the next 4 days. So going to be pretty taxing on the arms, but getting some good length out of Esposito here today.
We said it before, a very busy week for us here on Sportsnet. We have baseball tonight. As of now, we have softball scheduled for tomorrow at 12:30. Now, that could change as inclement weather is in the forecast. So we'll see what happens with tomorrow's broadcast and the start time for those 2 games against Malloy. And there's a tremendous play by Cipoletti. He broke in on that ball, then was forced to leap off of his feet, stretched the glove out across his body, and he snags that one out of the air for the first out.
Base running and defense have been tremendous here this afternoon, now evening, for Cipoletti.
Plays like that have helped John Esposito a great deal out on the mound, and once again, it's a quick out for Esposito as he sets down Juan De La Rosa on 1 pitch for out number 2.
Now batting the catcher, number 17, Nick Berrios.
Esposito now over 90 pitches, so most likely this will be the last inning from here in the 7th. I think Kehoe is getting ready in the bullpen, so I would assume we'll see him in the 8th.
If Esposito gets another quick out here, that would likely get him through this inning under 100 pitches, and you might have to consider running him out there for 1 more.
Certainly.
I know I say it every time the Dolphins face a conference opponent, but once again, the Dolphins cannot qualify for postseason play this year. However, these games do count in the conference standings for the other East Coast Conference schools, and I mentioned Esposito looking for a quick out. He got it, as that's lined straight into the glove of Shendi Ulaj. It's a 1-2-3 7th for John Esposito, and the Dolphins maintain a 4-1 lead.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back on the ECC network. The Dolphins lead the Knights by a score of 4-1, entering the bottom half of the 7th inning. It will be 8-9-1 for CSI as Julian Arcos returns to the mound, and he had one really rough inning where he gave up a bunch of base hits. Outside of that, it was a costly 2-out error that allowed the Dolphins to score 2 runs in the 3rd. If you take away that error, we have a one-run ball game. However, Arcos misses with his first 2 pitches here in the 7th, and he's behind Brian Burkhead 2-0. And that's fouled straight back by the Dolphins left fielder. Burkhead 0 for 2, has flown out and grounded out in 2 at-bats. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. And that catches the inside corner for a called strike 2, and Burkhead can't believe it. I will say it has been a good umpire's appreciation day for this crew.
Keep them happy with the Munchkins. Although the rumored Munchkins that were given as Burkhead strikes out there to the umpires, I haven't physically seen them at all today, so I don't know where these are. Maybe they're mythical, maybe they're made up. I don't know.
It's a good point. I have one question. Leftovers?
If they don't even get them, perhaps, but I haven't seen them at all. I also don't know if it's in compliance to give the umpires a treat, but maybe you probably have to give them some after the game. It's probably some sort of rule.
Well, I'll tell you, if I was being treated to Munchkins, I would certainly wait until after the game.
Right.
So that I'm not restricted. Nick Campisi is the batter. He's 1 for 2, has singled and grounded out. He's behind in the count here, 0-1. And the pitch from Arcos is down in the dirt for ball 1. Here comes the 1-1. And that's it on the ground over to short. De La Rosa has it, and he throws out Campisi for out number 2.
So, Joe, a really important question here. Do you think you could eat a whole box of Munchkins in one sitting?
No.
What would you max out at, you think?
Not many, because I do not handle a lot of sugar well at all. I just don't like it. It makes me feel sick very quickly. Now, when it comes to the high sodium and fattening foods, that's a different story. That I can handle plenty of.
So, Munchkins, I mean, I could probably eat quite a bit. I don't know if I get the whole box, but it also depends on what type it is. The powdery ones are a little heavier, the chocolate ones are heavy, but those jelly ones are pretty light. So it all depends there. How about pizza? You are eating a piece of pizza before. How many, we'll say regular pie, eight slices there. Can you do the whole pie? What's your average?
Could I? Yes. Would I with the cheese? No. I know I get a lot of eye rolls and comments as that one's off the glove of the pitcher, Arcos, and the throw is in time from De La Rosa. So we'll have to talk about my pizza eating habits after the break, as Jake Myers is retired on a very unconventional 1-6-3 putout to bring the 7th inning to a close. Our score is still 4-1 Staten Island. And we're back on CSI Sportsnet, and the Dolphins have a new pitcher who has taken the mound for the 8th inning, and as announced over the public address, it will be Ryan Kehoe to the mound for the College of Staten Island. He comes in having appeared in 7 games, including 4 starts. He's pitched to a 1-1 record with a whip of 1.77 and an ERA of 6.66. He has thrown 1 complete game and has pitched 24 1/3 innings. He's allowed 32 hits, 21 runs, 18 of those earned. He's walked 11, struck out 16. He has surrendered 12 extra base hits, including 10 doubles, 1 triple, and 1 home run. 106 opposing batters have hit .302 against him.
Well, the freshman from St. Peter's High School, his last outing against Mercy, went 7 innings, gave up 9 hits, 5 runs, 4 of those earned, 2 base on balls, and 3 strikeouts. And he is coming to this game. He's a big fan of cheesesteaks, and I've mentioned that in the air before. You and I over the summer did both down 2 cheesesteaks, Pat's and Geno's, on our way to Citizens Bank Ballpark to watch the Mets take on the Phillies as that first pitch is in their first strike. But, Joe, we kept the audience hanging on here. So pizza, for those of you that don't know, Mr. Foreman likes Domino's, but he does not like the cheese. So basically, he's a big fan of bread and sauce.
That is correct. I get my garlic butter crust as that's it on the ground over to third. And Ulaj will throw out Justin Ventura for the first out. But like I said, I get many comments and eye rolls whenever I bring it up. My Domino's order is a medium hand-tossed pizza with extra robust tomato sauce, no cheese. And I save a lot of calories that way. I'm a big fan of the Domino's sauce. I'm a big fan of my carbs. The fattening dough with the garlic butter crust, that's more than enough for me. I don't need the cheese on top of it. And I'm more than happy with my cheeseless Domino's pizza. Full pizza, easy 8 slices, no problem.
Well, I would say Domino's is not regulation size, so a little smaller there.
Medium is not regulation size. That is correct. A large would be beyond regulation size.
Really? So we're talking more than 18 inches.
Yeah, I'd say the large is definitely beyond regulation size.
So what would you say, you're eating here? I mean, I would consider, if you're talking about a slice, you have to talk about the crust. We haven't brought this up on the air this year yet, but last year I was in a pizza eating contest, and I felt that I got robbed. And after this pitch, give you some more on that. That pitch just swung on and missed. I came in 4th place because, foolish me, I was eating the crust, and I had 2 pieces left. These other people, they basically finished the whole pizza, but they had 8 pieces of crust left. So if I do the math here, I kind of think that they had more pizza left than me in the competition. And we had 5 minutes to eat a whole pie.
Okay, so you had 5 minutes to eat the entire pie. They left out the crust.
They need the crust. And the crust is the killer. That's what causes you to take time to have to digest. Otherwise, the slice without the crust, you get down that quickly.
Now, I would say that 1 slice, no crust, is equal to about maybe 2.5, 3 pieces of crust. I think that's fair. So you were awfully close if they did not touch the crust.
We'll see. If there is another competition, I will now specifically go in there not eating the crust and
Smart.
see what happens.
You need to play to the rules. As Ryan Kehoe has come out of the Dolphins' bullpen and quickly has the first 2 outs here in the 8th inning.
My career high, no crust, 12 slices. And right now, Kehoe is just slicing through this Queens College lineup out of the bullpen.
One ball and 1 strike to count. And that swung on and missed by Cisco for strike 2. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to the Queens' second baseman, and that's chopped on the ground to Ulaj over at third. And he throws out Cisco for the 3rd out. So once again, the Dolphins get a 1-2-3 inning out on the mound. This time it is Ryan Kehoe in relief. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning with the Dolphins leading 4-1.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world?
I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placements.
Dominic Castiglione set to lead things off for the Dolphins in the home half of the 8th inning. And once again, it is Julian Arcos back to the mound for Queens College. His team still trailing by 3 runs, and he's been very good in this game. Unfortunately, Dolphins pitching has been better so far, as Juan De La Rosa could not make that backhanded stop. We'll see how they score that one. That could go either way, and I think it will be the 8th Dolphins base hit.
I would give it a hit.
I think that's fair. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Tough play on the backhand. That ball was hit hard, and Castiglione is on with a leadoff single.
So we mentioned earlier some softball this weekend. You have some breaking news about tomorrow's game.
That's right. Tomorrow's CSI softball game against Malloy College has been moved back 1 hour to 1:30 p.m. That game the first of a pair, as the Dolphins will play a doubleheader against the Lions tomorrow. That game moved back 1 hour. Game 1 will now start at 1:30 p.m. Weather permitting, I will be on the call alongside Nick Bavona for Game 1 and Andrew Rotundo for Game 2.
Ulaj there trying to drop the bunt. Dolphins going small ball here to get another run.
And Ulaj swinging there, lines one into the glove of a diving Justin Ventura. And Castiglione is forced to scurry back over to first base.
Nice catch there by Ventura. Castiglione lucky Ventura didn't get that throw in quicker because he ran right through first base into the coach's box.
That will bring Stephen Kalika to the plate. Kalika is 1 for 3 in the game, has grounded out, singled, and struck out. The Dolphins are looking for some insurance here in the 8th inning. Their lead is 3 runs as Kalika chops one on the ground foul.
So really good job of pitching there by Kehoe in that inning. He'll go out there for the save of the 9th. So I know you said the game was moving quick, but we're right on pace for an average game, which is usually around 2.5 hours. We'll see what happens here.
How do you figure that? As that's lined into the right center field gap. That's a poor read by Castiglione. That ball was clearly going to fall, but he goes first to third anyway as he had to hustle to get there. I think Mike Morrow was saying the same thing, but good hustle by Dom to go first to third, and the Dolphins have runners on the corners with 1 out. So how do you figure we're on pace for 2.5? We're at 147, and we only have 5 outs to go.
Well, we'll be. I think we're going to get to. I think we're at 2:05.
That's a safe bet.
2:10 perhaps.
That's about 20 minutes short of the standard time.
We're going to have a pitching change here, perhaps. So should add things on. I don't know what the average length of game time is. I was assuming around 2.5.
For us, probably closer to 3 for a 9-inning game. And it looks like that's going to be all for Julian Arcos, but
I think he's staying in, Joe.
Chris Reardon hasn't taken the baseball yet. We have several onlookers in the Queens bullpen. It looks like whoever it is tossing out there was ready to enter the game, but Arcos will stay in.
Arcos looking to go the distance in this one. Do you have a pitch count on him? 110, perhaps?
I have approximately 82.
Wow.
But I know there are some plays that I had to rescore, so those at-bats were lost. I would say he's probably closer to 90 than 80 pitches for sure. I don't think I've missed more than 10. We should have an official pitch count on him in the live stats. I don't see it. I know once upon a time we did.
Different era.
I guess so. As that's chopped foul by Gardner, who's quickly in a 2-strike hole. Gardner is 1 for 3, has struck out, singled, and grounded out in 3 at-bats. The middle infield for the Knights at double play depth. Antos playing in at third. Phillip holding the runner on first. That's Kalika. And the 0-2 pitch to Gardner is fouled away. One Knights reliever is warming up in a jacket. Another is throwing to his right, but it's tough to get a number. I think that's Dean Faza, the left-hander.
Heads up in the bullpen there. Oh.
And Faza almost had the catch. It was hit right to him.
Look, the guy in the sweatshirt, he's probably just getting loose for tomorrow's game. Doing a little side session here because he's not really throwing. He's just basically having to catch with a guy standing up.
I think that's 2 different pitchers out there having a catch on the left mound. And then Faza throwing on the right as Gardner strikes out, swinging at another breaking ball. And he's frustrated with himself after that swing and miss.
Rough day for Gardner.
It will be left to Angel Santiago, the Dolphins' designated hitter. He's 1 for 3, has struck out, singled, and grounded out in 3 at-bats. Chance to give the Dolphins some insurance here in the 8th. CSI with 2 base hits in the inning. Looking for one more as Santiago is hit in the back by that pitch.
Walks it off, heads down to first.
That was dangerously close to a headshot there. As Santiago turned his back to that breaking ball. Certainly no malice there intended by Arcos. But that loads the bases, and Nick Cipoletti will be the batter. And there's a big swing and a miss by Cipoletti for strike 1. Cipoletti does have a base hit in the game, but it was a bunt single. A perfectly placed bunt single. Dolphin shortstop is behind in the count, 0-1. And that's it up in the air. Foul territory. And with room to make the catch is Phillip for the 3rd out. So the Dolphins strand the bases loaded, and their lead entering the 9th will be 3. Our score 4-1 through 8 from the CSI Baseball Complex.
You Know 'Em Right is the podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, and pop culture. On the show, hosts Nick and Joe walk guests through the retelling of their humble beginnings, covering an array of topics from specific interests and hobbies to personal opinions regarding each facet of their industry. You Know 'Em Right offers insight on how to adapt and advance, and offers alternative advice as opposed to a one-size-fits-all strategy. Above all else, the number one goal of You Know 'Em Right is to offer listeners an exclusive behind-the-scenes vantage point not found anywhere else through its increasing list of professional connections. With a following that continues to grow daily, You Know 'Em Right is transforming into a must-listen podcast in the right place at the right time. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You do not want to miss an episode of You Know I'm Right.
Top of the ninth, about to get underway from the CSI Baseball Complex. Queens College down to their final 3 outs in this game, as their perfect conference record is on the line against the College of Staten Island tonight. The Knights came in 6-0 against the East Coast Conference. That is in dire jeopardy right here as Ryan Kehoe returns to the mound for the College of Staten Island, looking for the final 3 outs.
Kehoe looking to slam the door shut.
And his 0-1 pitch catches the inside corner for a called strike 2. 6 wins for the Knights against the ECC have come against Deauville and Lincoln, as Kehoe misses just high for ball 1. Those are 2 teams the Dolphins handled well last season. So that's something to keep in mind. Dolphins have taken care of business through the first 8. 3 more outs to get, as that's chopped down the third baseline off the glove of Ulaj, and that will be an infield single for Luis Antos.
Nice job here by Antos to get something started here for his team.
That's a tough break for Ryan Kehoe and the Dolphins, as that was chopped weakly down the line at third. And even if Ulaj fielded that ball cleanly, that was going to be an incredibly tough play. Showing bunt.
Don't get that,
Reed
Joe.
Hoskins, and he pulls it back. I think he had to be taking all the way.
Yep.
One ball and no strikes, the count on the Knights DH. And Kehoe delivers, and that is bunted foul.
I don't get it unless he's thinking he's going to be able to get on base. I mean, you're down 3 here. Now, certainly, you're not looking to just advance the runner here. You need to get the bases loaded just to get the tying run on.
I would be shocked if he shows bunt again. I can't imagine. That missed up high as the throw nearly sailed over Kalika's head. And if that got into the right field corner, that's a 2-base error.
Huge right field foul territory and left field foul territory here due to the bullpen. So we saw it come into play earlier on the throwing error, which ended up leading to 2 runners scoring.
And the pitch from Kehoe is down in the dirt for ball 2. Hoskins is officially 0 for 2 at the plate, has struck out twice and walked. There's a half swing by Hoskins. No appeal. He held it up.
A full count now. Dolphins bench certainly thought Hoskins went there.
CSI does not get the benefit of that call. Here comes a huge payoff pitch from Ryan Kehoe. And that's pulled into deep left field. Giving chase is Burkhead. It is off the fence. Headed to third is Antos, and into second base standing with a double is Reed Hoskins, and the Knights will bring the tying run to the plate as Hoskins is fired up.
Well, I'm sure Hoskins is relieved now that he didn't get his bunt down. He'll take that double, and that is going to bring the tying run to the plate here with Colin Diaz. But we'll have a mound visit first here, and it looks like Kalika is going to come in here from first base, and he's going to pitch here to get the save. We'll see how he warms up. And I would assume Martin's going to come in the game to play first, Joe. That would be my guess.
I think you're right, Nick, but we will confirm that in just a moment. Kalika swaps the glove and will head to the mound. And it looks like Thomas Martin will indeed head over to first base. So the Dolphins starting first baseman, Stephen Kalika, is the new pitcher. Thomas Martin comes off of the Dolphins bench and will play first base. And for Martin, entering this game at first base ensures, at least for tonight, that he will have played in every Dolphins game to this point in the season. He has now appeared in all 22 games for the College of Staten Island. But the numbers on the mound for Stephen Kalika this year are as follows. He comes in having appeared in 5 games, including 1 start. He's pitched to an 0-1 record, a 1.22 whip, a 5.06 ERA. He has 1 save, going for number 2 right here. In 10 2/3 innings, he's allowed 11 hits, 8 runs, 6 of those earned. He has walked 2, struck out 6, and allowed 4 extra base hits, including 3 doubles and 1 home run. Opponents are hitting .262 against him. That mark is good for third on this Dolphins pitching staff.
Something to keep in mind here, Joe, now is if Queens is able to tie this, Kalika is going to move. He's going to move to pitcher, so that means Martin's going to come into the DH spot of Santiago, and he's going to be the first baseman, so he would definitely get up in the bottom of the 9th if there was a bottom of the 9th.
We will see if it gets to that point. You did ask me in the last game, Nick, if it was a necessity that you have a DH for your pitcher. It is not a necessity. I had that clarified for me today. So DH optional, not a requirement.
Well, good to know. We got a clarification there. However, in this case, when a position player is coming in for the pitcher, that you do, in fact, lose the DH.
Don't look now, Nick, but we're at the 2-hour mark. Runners on second and third, nobody out for the Knights. Colin Diaz is the batter. He's 1 for 3 in this game, has doubled, grounded out, and struck out. He will face the left-handed Kalika, and he shows bunt before pulling it back and looking at ball 1.
I had to think that he was taking all the way on that one, and that's why he was showing bunt. Wouldn't make any sense to bunt here.
The corners are back for the Dolphins. If you think you can beat it out, maybe that's what Hoskins thought. Not saying I agree with it. As Diaz takes up high for ball 2. Diaz ahead in the count, 2-0. First base is open. And Kalika's 2-0 pitch is not close. He's behind, 3 balls and no strikes.
Not sure how I feel about someone coming in cold off the field to pitch without a proper warm-up session. I'm sure this is not what Coach Morrow envisioned going into this inning.
3-0 the count on the Knights left fielder, and he takes a called strike 1. Diaz had already left the box. He was ready to walk on down to first base. Three and 1 now the count. And Kalika finds the zone for strike 2. The count is full on Colin Diaz. A huge pitch upcoming. The payoff pitch from Kalika sails up high for ball 4.
Uh-oh, Joe. We've seen this before, haven't we? Bases loaded here, nobody out. And the game-winning run would be at the plate here, or the go-ahead run, rather, as Juan De La Rosa steps to the plate. Or, excuse me, as Matt Phillip, the first baseman, steps to the plate. We've seen him play a very nice game defensively over at first base.
Now, we have seen this before, Nick. The Dolphins with a lead much larger than this one entering the 9th, and it got away earlier this season. But what you haven't seen yet this year is a Dolphins win here at home.
I have not.
If I'm not mistaken, the Dolphins have split the games I've called. 2 wins, 2 losses. You have not called either of the wins. And I think if you're a fan of the Dolphins, that's a trend you would like to see reversed today.
Nice block there by Campese. For all softball fans, I'm going to do you a good deed here, and I will not show up this weekend, so you have a chance at 4 victories.
We'll see if it plays out that way.
Dolphins getting the bullpen going, Joe.
Try and get a look at who that is throwing. I believe that's Liam Harding. And the 1-0 pitch from Kalika sails outside for ball 2. And that is indeed Harding in the Dolphins bullpen. Now Kalika, if I'm not mistaken, has to face 3 batters unless that rule is not in effect here at the college level. It's a good question, one that I probably should know the answer to, but unfortunately, I'm not around enough to have those kind of answers. 2-0 the count, and that's not close as that ball's down in the dirt for ball 3.
Well, I think if Kalika walks Phillip here, and you're allowed to pull him, you have to pull him. Back-to-back walks. But the question then would be, what do you do? Do you put him back at first? Because he's going to be leading off next inning. Or up second.
Kalika does issue the walk. That forces in a run. The score now 4-2. If I'm not mistaken, the Knights have 1 hit across now the last 5 innings. Make it 6, 5 innings plus, but innings 3 through 9. If I'm not mistaken, they only have 1 hit, maybe 2. Maybe 2.
Oh.
Actually, they have 2 in this inning, so those are the only 2.
4-2 game here. Bases loaded, nobody out. I think you have to... I think you got to play the corners in here.
Kalika can't find the strike zone, so it won't matter if the Knights aren't forced to put the ball in play. And the 2-0 pitch finds the zone for a called strike 1. Juan De La Rosa at the plate in this game is 0 for 3. Has flown out twice and grounded out. Hasn't had to swing the bat in this plate appearance yet. And he won't have to on that pitch as it's off Campese's glove to the backstop. And the third Knights run is in to score. The go-ahead run moves into scoring position. And the Dolphins lead is down to 1. Our score is 4-3 and still nobody out.
I think this is going to be Kalika's last batter. Most likely. As long as Harding's ready to go.
Well, Nick, you and I should not have been talking about the time of the game. I blame myself for this one.
I think I was a little closer on my prediction than you were.
We appear headed in that direction as Kalika misses up high for ball 4. And De La Rosa is on with the walk. Once again, the bases are loaded. Once again, Mike Morrow emerges from the Dolphins dugout. And once again, we will have a pitching change. So with that, Nick and I will take a quick 30-second break. When we come back, the Dolphins are trying to navigate a bases-loaded, nobody-out jam. The Knights have the tying run 90 feet away, and the go-ahead run stands on second.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we are back from the CSI Baseball Complex. The bases are loaded. There is nobody out in the top half of the 9th inning. Queens College has pulled to within a run. Our score is now 4-3 Staten Island. And Liam Harding has come out of the Dolphins bullpen looking to somehow find his way out of a bases-loaded jam. He inherits 3 runners, and Harding has a very tall task in front of him if he is going to record the final 3 outs without relinquishing this lead. The Dolphins may settle for a tie game through this half inning, but they are looking to Liam Harding to make that happen, and Harding comes into this game struggling on the mound this year, and he's had one very good outing and one very tough outing here at home. The 2 times we have covered him, his ERA has gone down from the last time we saw him. He comes in with an ERA of 20.25 and a whip just shy of 3, a record of 0-2 across 6 appearances, all in relief. He has thrown 8 innings this season and will begin his 9th. And the first pitch he throws is hit out to straightaway center. Diaz is tagging at third. Castiglione's throw will be cut off by Martin, and the tying run is in to score. Our score now knotted up at 4, but for the Dolphins, that is not the worst thing that could have happened. The runner is forced to hold over at second.
Well, get the out there, and now you're a ground ball away from being out of this one. And then you go into the 9th, and you'll have Martin batting for you. Well, I think it'll be Santiago, Martin, Cipolleti would be the batters, I believe.
So credit Nick Berrios for the sacrifice fly as Justin Ventura takes a called strike 1. Ventura is 0 for 3, has grounded out 3 times in this game. And the 0-1 is swung on and missed. Ventura did get a piece, but it winds up in the glove of Nick Campisi for strike 2. Now, I did mention Liam Harding has thrown 8 innings. He's allowed 11 hits, 21 runs, 18 of those earned. He's walked 12 and struck out 10 opposing hitters in 35 at-bats, hitting at .314 against him. But he also has 10 wild pitches and 4 hit batsmen, as that's fouled back by Ventura.
No one happier right now than Julian Arcos, who exited this last inning, down, and now he has a little chance to potentially get a win here, depending on what his teammates can do here the rest of this inning.
Arcos has pitched very well in this game. Certainly good enough to earn the win. 8 innings, allowed 4 runs, 2 earned, scattered 9 base hits, struck out 8, hit 1 batter. Definitely pitched well enough to earn a victory. 1-2 the count on Ventura. And he takes the breaking ball on the inside corner for a called strike 3. Wicked hook from Liam Harding, and that is a huge strikeout, as there are now 2 away in the inning. And it's back to the top of the order for the Knights with Jason Rodopoulos stepping into the box.
Big strikeout there, but the problem now is you got against Rodopoulos, who has 2 hits earlier today. Very dangerous hitter.
Rodopoulos had hits in each of his first 2 at-bats. Both came against John Esposito. And there's a good block by Campisi behind the plate on that pitch in the dirt. Matt Phillip is the runner over at second. Juan De La Rosa stands at first. Harding comes set. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And that catches the inside corner for a called strike 1. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike on the Knights center fielder. And Harding's pitch is popped up on the infield in foul territory. Ulaj at the dugout railing, cannot make the catch.
Second chance here for Rodopoulos. We'll see if he's able to make it count. Esposito leaving the dugout right now, I believe. Kind of looks dejected.
That would have been some catch by Ulaj up against the railing. Perhaps had a chance for an Ike Davis moment right there. Throwback.
Good times when Ike used to go in the dugout to make those catches.
Throwback to about 10 years ago now. It's hard to believe, as Harding's pitch is blocked in the dirt by Campese once again.
I thought Ike Davis was going to be like this generational superstar, the next cornerstone for the Mets, but ever since him and I think Murphy collided in Colorado, it was all downhill for him from there. Terrible injury.
2-2 the count on Rodopoulos, and that gets by Campese, as Harding has just thrown his 11th wild pitch of the season. That advances another runner into scoring position. The go-ahead run is now 90 feet away, and the count is full on Rodopoulos at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That's going to get, I think, Kevin Ryan going in the bullpen.
That opens up first base, and Harding does have his command issues, but he now has that open base to play with as that's popped up on the infield. Ulaj calls off Cipoletti, and he makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. But not before the Knights, behind only 2 base hits, plate 3 runs and tie the score at 4. The Dolphins will have a chance to walk off with the win when we come back for the bottom half of the 9th inning.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America in your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a key?
Go fish!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.
And we are back from the College of Staten Island, where the Dolphins have squandered a 3-run lead in the top half of the 9th inning. CSI entered the 9th leading 4-1. We are now tied at 4 runs per side. However, the Dolphins were left with a chance to walk it off here in the bottom half of the 9th on their home field. And for the first time today, they will face a new pitcher for the Knights, as it will be number 22, Danny Gargano, taking the mound.
And for the Dolphins, we have Burkhead, Campese, and then Myers to go against Gargano here. Gargano this season has pitched quite a bit here, but he's a really good ERA, 2.03, a whip of under 1.98, 6 appearances all out of the bullpen, and 1 save in 13 innings pitched to go along with allowing only 9 hits and 18 strikeouts.
And that's hit hard on the ground by Burkhead, bobbled for a moment by Cisco, and he did not lose the play as Burkhead stumbles over first base, and he remains down on the infield grass and is not getting up.
And here will come head trainer Allison, who will make her Sportsnet debut of baseball this season. I think you might have hurt his ankle or his knee there, lunging for the base at the last second.
It looked like his leg may have buckled over first base.
We did see your favorite player, the reigning MVP, Bryce Harper, suffer that injury, I think 3 years ago now, running into first base.
While we have a break in the action, I'll bring you the full numbers on Gargano. You mentioned that whip of .98. That's good for second on this night's team. The 6 appearances also tied for second. He's top 5 in strikeouts with 18, but those 18 strikeouts coming in only 13 and a third innings. So he's been prolific striking batters out. The opponent's batting average against him of 191 is also good for third on this Queens College Ball Club. That 191 average compiled by 47 batters. He's only walked 4 and allowed 9 hits in 13 and a third. As Nick Campisi takes a called strike 1.
So if this game goes to the 10th, I would assume Burkhead's going to be out. Who do you think would be coming in to play left?
I'll have to pull up a roster and give you my opinion on that one. As I'm trying to think, they have Gardner and Castiglione out there now. Available outfielders would include, this is going down in numerical order. Michael Crocco has played some outfield. And I'm not sure who else I've seen take any reps in the outfield this year. Could be very interesting to see who the Dolphins bring in.
Well, Kalika cannot re-enter, so it won't be him going to right. And Gardner moving to left as Campisi strikes out. It's going to bring us to the top of the order with Myers.
So if Burkhead cannot come back in, and the Dolphins are forced to make that decision, I'm not certain who it would be if not Crocco. I don't see any other player on this Dolphins roster listed as an outfielder. In fact, Crocco is not even listed as an outfielder.
He's listed as an infielder.
But I know he has played some outfield. So I would presume there's at least one more player not listed as an outfielder who can play the outfield. You'd hope so. 4 outfielders on a massive roster like this would be a bit surprising.
Well, we got action going in the bullpen. Looks like we have a lefty who's the closest to being warmed up. And we'll have to check it.
That's Adam Gonzalez, the left-hander, number 8. The right-hander is facing us, so we can't see the back of the jersey. As Myers slams the bat down in frustration, and once again, Rodopoulos went down in center field. He wasn't even involved in the play, but the catch is made on the infield.
Wet outfield.
For the final out of the inning, and Nick, at the 2-hour and 22-minute mark, that sends us to extra innings. The score is tied at 4.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the ring cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world?
I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high.
Free baseball from the College of Staten Island as Liam Harding returns to the mound and finds the zone with his first pitch of the 10th inning. The Dolphins and Knights tied at 4. Queens had the first lead of this game all the way back in the second inning. That was the only run John Esposito would allow. His team gave him a 4-1 lead in the fourth, a lead the Dolphins held until the ninth, when the Knights scored 3 runs to tie the score. And the 10th is off to a good start for Queens as well, as Mark Cisco delivers a leadoff single.
Cisco getting it started here. Women's softball team back from their game for CSI, and they're in the stands watching this one as it is nighttime now. This is the first time this season that I've been here where it is dark.
I do not believe that any of our games have been played in complete darkness this year. We finished some games at sunset. I don't think that doubleheader against Bloomfield made it all the way into the evening hours. We came awfully close. But if this game goes more than another inning, I think we'll be there tonight.
Who is in charge of putting the lights on here? Is it the ACC?
Yes, and that control panel is right behind us to our left.
Wow.
That's fouled back by Luis Antos to even up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Antos is 2 for 4, has singled twice in 4 at-bats.
So good job by our ACC, Joe Mosher, being prepared, put the lights on quite a time ago so they can warm up. They take a long time to warm up. There are some out, though. But overall here, it's very good visibility on the field due to the lights at this point.
And I don't expect that to change, as the lights have never failed us before. Most frequently used back during the CUNYAC days at tournament time, as that's lined into right field for a base hit. Cisco takes the turn. He heads for third, and the throw comes in, forcing the runner, Antos, to hold over at first. But back-to-back base hits for the Knights have given them runners on the corners with nobody out in the 10th.
Nice job there by Michael Crocco, who's now in the game and left to get over to third to back up the throw.
The Dolphins will not concede a run for 2 outs here. They are bringing the entire infield in. Martin over at first base is holding the runner Antos on. And the batter is Reed Hoskins. Ulaj is not all the way in at third. He's playing even with the third base bag. Martin creeps in at first. And that pitch misses for ball 1 to Hoskins. He's 1 for 3, has struck out twice, walked, and doubled. And that's skied foul. Straight back over our heads.
We saw Hoskins look at a bunt in the 9th inning. Maybe thought he might consider dropping one here. Suicide squeeze. But anything in the air here to the outfield is probably going to score the run on a sac fly.
I'm with you, Nick. I was thinking the same thing, as the runner will take second base without a throw as Campisi looks Cisco back to third.
That can be big. I mean, no chance they'll play now. And 2 runners in scoring position.
Well, the count is 1-2, so Harding is looking for a huge third strike right here. He comes set. Here's his 1-2 pitch. And that's off Campisi's glove and to the backstop. The go-ahead run comes in to score, and the Dolphins now trail for the first time since the second inning, 5-4. Nothing to say, Nick?
I'm speechless, Joe. But we've seen this story play out before, so I guess you can call this a sequel or trilogy at this point.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Hoskins, and he looks at ball 3. We've seen Harding throw his share of wild pitches. That one was not on the Dolphins reliever. That hit right off of Campisi's glove. And he's been good behind the plate. He's had to block a lot of tough pitches, and there's another one as that misses for ball 4. And Hoskins draws his second walk of the game.
Now, if you're Hoskins here, and you just saw what happened during your at-bat, I mean, I would think he's going to be taken off here on the first or second pitch.
I'm with you. Our viewer's blowing up my phone right now.
Blown up. We have so many people watching us who are in agreement with me that they're just speechless, that they are going to text about it.
Well, these viewers clearly aren't speechless. They have a lot of opinions flooding into my phone for me, but those will have to wait until we're off the air as they check on the runner at first, and Hoskins is back in safely. Now, we didn't have a pinch runner, did we?
It looks like we do now.
I think we do.
But I don't see anything as to who it was, and we didn't. They didn't make it well known.
I have the binoculars ready.
He's going to be going here probably on the first pitch.
Would not surprise me in the slightest, and the Dolphins are certainly ready for it. See if we can get a look here.
Perhaps number 12?
The second digit is definitely a 2. So that's number 12.
I'm going to guess it's the freshman, Joseph Corneely.
Harding finally delivers the first pitch of this at-bat. It swung on and missed.
Myers is playing in, but shaded to the second, so he's probably going to cut off the throw to first from the throw to second from Campisi on the stolen base attempt.
So Joseph Corneal is the pinch runner over at first. Luis Antos stands over at third. As Colin Diaz is quickly in a 2-strike hole, he's been overpowered by Harding on each of the first 2 pitches. Once again, Harding looking for a big third strike, and that sidearm pickoff attempt is coming dangerously close to bouncing. Pinch runner Corneal is second on the team in stolen bases as that's it on the ground to third. Ulaj looks the runner back, and his throw into the runner over at first is in time. And Martin tags out Diaz for out number 1.
Essentially a bunt there to get 2 runners now in scoring position with 1 out. But I'm sure that's not how they drew it up. Wasn't the intended result there from Diaz.
Right here is a situation where if you trust your pitcher to throw strikes, I think you walk the batter. The problem is, I'm not sure the Dolphins have that right now in Harding or in the bullpen.
Well, we saw Harding throw a wild pitch just this inning to give Queens College the lead, so certainly can't trust him at this point to throw consistent strikes.
A wild pitch in this spot likely scores a run. Wild pitch with the bases loaded has the same effect. I think right now you're looking at it not in terms of potential wild pitch, but in terms of can he find the zone at will. And I think it's fair to say right now the answer to that is probably not.
Right.
But
I'm looking at our scoreboard out there. It says Dolphins with an error. Was that given to Campisi on the wild pitch, or
no.
is that's up there an error from
that error is a
previously?
mistake from the previous inning. We had a discussion during the break about it, and it still has not
Sounds
been removed.
like you'll be going down to the statistician room.
I will. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Harding pitches around Phillip here.
Looks like the pen is ready to go for the Dolphins.
Phillip is hitless in the game. De La Rosa on deck is hitless in the game. And that pitch is in at the knees for a called strike one. So it'll be interesting to see how Harding approaches this at bat. One and one the count on the Knights' first baseman, and there's another good block by Campese.
They don't make it easy on Campese, that's for sure.
No, certainly not. He has had an adventure behind the plate just about every game he has caught this year, without exception. At least here at home. As I try and tune into some of the road games, but of course I've covered all the games here at home. And Campese has been put through the ringer behind the plate.
At least 10 innings here tonight. I would assume he gets tomorrow off, at least the first game.
3 balls and 1 strike the count on Phillip. And Harding's pitch is fouled back. I'm almost a bit surprised Phillip had the green light there.
Full count now. Big pitch for Harding.
Payoff pitch from Harding on its way, and Campese got a glove on it. Good read at third by Antos as he holds. And the bases are once again loaded with Knights. Is that all for Liam Harding?
Doesn't look like it.
Looks like Mike Morrow is on the top step of the dugout, but he's giving signs. Doesn't look like he's headed for the mound. And he takes a seat up against the fence near the on-deck circle. Harding stays in. And that swung on and missed by De La Rosa. That pitch bounced. Not a good pitch to swing at there for the Queens shortstop. As I mentioned, De La Rosa is hitless. He's 0 for 3 in the game. And the 0-1 is ripped right at the left fielder, Crocco. He nearly lost it. And Crocco is down as the throw is cut off by Cipoletti. Crocco appears a bit shaken up and left. He lost his footing after making that catch. The 6th Queens run is in to score, and the Knights now lead by 2, but the Dolphins may be down to their last outfielder, and Crocco looks to be favoring that leg.
Well, it's very wet out there. We did see Rodopoulos slide twice. Previous week, last week, we saw Burkhead take a fall twice. But nice job by Crocco, who's coming off the bench here, battling the lights as well and the left field to at least make the catch.
Nick Berrios is the batter. He's ahead in the count, 1-0. He's also 0 for 3 in the game. Bottom of the Knights' order hasn't done much damage in this one, as Harding misses outside for ball 2. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 10th, it will be 2, 3, and 4 for the Dolphins. Castiglione, Ulage, and Martin.
Queens College looking to remain perfect in conference play. Currently 6-0.
And the 2-0 is in for a letter-high strike. Phillip hasn't moved over at first. Thought maybe the Knights might try and draw a throw to second. Have not attempted the steal yet. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on the Queens catcher. Phillip over at first. Cornel at third. 2 outs in the top of the 10th. And that swung on and missed by Berrios for strike 3. So Harding strands a pair on base, but not before Queens takes a 2-run lead. The Dolphins come to bat in the bottom of the 10th, trailing 6-4.
car is damaged, where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447.
And we are back for the bottom half of the 10th inning. The Dolphins trailing 6-4. This is the first time the Dolphins have trailed in this game since all the way back in the second inning when they trailed 1-0. For CSI, John Esposito pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball. Ryan Kehoe came out and pitched a 1-2-3/8. And then in the ninth, Kehoe and Liam Harding both ran into trouble. 3 runs came home to score. And I should mention Stephen Kalika pitched in the ninth as well. Those 3 Dolphins pitchers combining to allow 3 runs in the inning. Then in the 10th, the Knights added 2 more, and that brings us to where we are right now with Queens leading Staten Island by a score of 6-4. As you mentioned ahead of the break, Nick, the Knights looking to maintain a perfect record in conference play. A win tonight moves them to 7-0 against the ECC.
Yeah, for the Dolphins, they were looking to go back-to-back with wins within conference for the first time this season. And the win was within reach. And another blown save here for the Dolphins, which has sadly been the story of their season at home this year.
It looks like Danny Gargano has returned to the mound for the bottom of the 10th. He was allowed a couple of extra warm-up tosses ahead of this 5th at-bat of the game for Dominic Castiglione. Dom is 2 for 4, has singled twice, those coming in his last 2 plate appearances. Certainly a chance for the Dolphins here, trailing by 2 runs. 2, 3, and 4 coming up in the 10th as Castiglione looks at strike 1. Here comes the 0-1. That's down in the dirt. Two, 3, and 4. Castiglione, Ulaj, Martin for the Dolphins against Danny Gargano. And there's a good breaking ball from Gargano as he threw that one right by Castiglione for strike 2. We've seen the Dolphins come from behind many times before. Certainly I have in my 6 years covering Dolphins baseball as Castiglione hits one deep into the hole, backhanded it short. De La Rosa's throw is just in time, and Castiglione is retired for the first out.
Wow, Joe, what arm strength there by the shortstop, De La Rosa. He does a little jump there, grabs that ball on the outfield grass, deep in the hole, has time to plant, and throws over with a really strong throw to record the out.
That is one of the better throws you will see from a shortstop who has his feet planted. It's not often you see an out recorded from that deep on the infield dirt, especially against a team's number 2 hitter. Castiglione has the range of a center fielder, not the fastest Dolphin, but certainly not slow, and that's a very impressive play by De La Rosa. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Shendi Ulaj. Shendi is 1 for 4 in the game.
And we'll certainly get a pinch hitter next because the pitcher's spot is up.
Well, I originally thought it was Martin. I saw him with a bat in his hands near the top step of the dugout, as it looks like Wadopoulos just lost that ball in the lights.
Tough there, but good break for the Dolphins. Martin came in the DH spot, which is where Santiago was. Right now, Kalika is up. Kalika's spot, which became the pitcher's spot. So we're going to have a pinch hitter here.
So Anthony Cetera will be the batter. If I'm not mistaken, Cetera started the first 2 games I covered this season. We haven't seen him get a start here at home since.
Cetera batting 200 on the year, Joe, with a 486 OPS. He only has 5 at-bats this year.
Cetera's appeared in 10 games, started only 5 times, and he swings to that pitch for strike 1. Cetera is 5 of 18 at the plate.
Looks like we got different stats here.
We certainly do. We certainly do. Sort that by number. See, perhaps maybe there are 2 Anthony Ceteras on the roster? Because I certainly do not have the same stats you do.
Cetera, 34, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, we got some different stats.
I don't know how that could be.
I thought you printed them right from this website.
I did. And I have Cetera 5 of 18. I have no idea how that happened.
Don't blame either of us.
We have drastically different stats.
We're looking at the same thing here.
We have drastically different stats. As Cetera takes the 2-1 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 2. I need to see where exactly you're looking. Perhaps maybe you're sorted by conference games, which is possible. You can do that. You are. Conference.
Don't even know how that happened.
So you want overall. There we go. And the 2-2 pitch is fouled straight back as Cetera just got a piece.
So he's batting 287, as you mentioned. 5 hits, 3 runs, a double, and 2 RBIs. But it is an in-conference game.
2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Cetera, and he will ask for time. Pat Gardner would be next, followed by Thomas Martin. So as you said, Martin comes in the DH spot as Cetera swings through the breaking ball for strike 3.
Dolphins now down to their last out.
Pat Gardner will be the batter. He's 1 for 4, has struck out twice, singled, and grounded out in his 4 plate appearances. Dolphins led this game 4-1 entering the 9th. Now trail 6-4. 5 unanswered runs from Queens College. Dolphins have 10 hits in the game. The Knights with only 8. Base on balls stinging the Dolphins once again. Here comes the 1-0 pitch to Gardner. And that's not close for ball 2. Gardner represents the tying run at the plate. A significant power threat in Thomas Martin stands on deck should Gardner keep the inning going. Comes the 2-0 pitch, and that misses outside for ball 3.
Dolphins here could potentially get the tying run on base.
And they may do so the easy way right here as Gardner is ahead 3-0, and he takes a called strike. Three and 1 the count on the Dolphins' right fielder. Dolphins looking to bring the winning run to the plate. Gargano asked for the signs again as he comes set. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And Gardner chops that one foul. Nice grab along the railing in the Queens dugout.
Dolphins now down 2. Their last strike here, 3-2 with 2 outs. Runner on second, down 2, 6-4.
It is a very lively visitors' dugout along the first baseline. As the payoff pitch misses well outside for ball 4. And with that, the Dolphins have the tying run on base. And the winning run comes to the plate as Thomas Martin will get his first at-bat of the night.
Well, Martin's up, and this guy hits like a G6, that's for sure. So he's waited quite some time to get his at-bat since coming on as defensive replacement for Kalika. And we'll see now if we're going to have... Well, we're going to have a bullpen. Well, nobody's in the bullpen for Queens, so pitcher will remain in, and Martin gets his first at-bat of the game here at the bottom of the 10th.
So perhaps the Queens dugout bringing a scouting report out to the mound for Gargano. An extra base hit here could very well tie this game. Martin certainly a candidate to deliver one. The runner on first, Gardner, has decent speed. The runner on second does not matter at this point, with the Dolphins trailing by 2.
7:51 now, so 2 hours and 51 minutes into this one. And Martin comes to the plate here with a chance to tie it for the Dolphins.
And the first pitch he sees is a breaking ball on the inside corner for a called strike 1. That's a good front door breaking ball by Gargano. That's a tough pitch against any right-hander. Comes the 0-1. And that pitch is off the outside corner.
Martin does have 1 home run this season, so he could potentially end this with 1 swing of the bat.
History lesson here, I have never called a walk-off home run. First time for everything, never say never. As Martin grounds one foul.
For the outfield, there's no wind right now, but the grass is very wet, and the lights make it more challenging to catch the ball. So anything into the gap, you mentioned earlier, Gardner is pretty quick. He could potentially score from first to tie the game.
This inning only remains alive because a ball was lost in the lights. Here comes the 1-2. And Martin looked to have held up. He did.
All right, down 2. 2-2 count. 2 outs. 2 runners on. Big pitch right here.
The count, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Thomas Martin. The Dolphins looking to keep this game going, or perhaps for a big game-tying hit. And that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. And the Knights come from behind to beat the Dolphins on their home field as Queens College defeats the College of Staten Island in extras by a final score of 6-4.
Well, Joe, the story today was that the Dolphins bullpen just could not slam the door shut. Lost in all this, excellent base running by Esposito, great fielding by the Dolphins, excellent pitching by Esposito, great base running by Cipolleti, and great defense by the Dolphins, but ultimately the bullpen was not able to get their job done, and a few wild pitches as well, which gave Queens College the victory here tonight.
Well, we said it earlier in the game, Nick. Personally, for me, of the Dolphins games I've called this season, this perhaps was the most well-played of all of those games through the first 8 innings. The Dolphins did a little of everything. They got great pitching from Esposito, as you mentioned. Ryan Kehoe pitched a solid 8th. Great base running, strong play in the field. CSI swung the bats well. Everything was clicking for CSI. And then the 9th inning happened. The Dolphins were forced to dig a bit deeper into that bullpen, and that's where things really got out of hand. We've said it time and time again. The Dolphins just can't seem to navigate the late innings, at least in their games here at home. And once again, the final inning came back to bite CSI here today, as the base on balls by CSI relievers have been a huge issue. The Dolphins bullpen behind John Esposito did not pitch well in the 9th inning. Ryan Kehoe started the inning. Stephen Kalika then came on in relief and issued 3 walks to the 3 batters he faced through a wild pitch. Liam Harding then came in, walked 2 more batters, allowed 2 hits over the next couple of innings. He struck out a pair, threw 2 more wild pitches, allowed 2 runs, and that was enough for Queens College to outlast CSI in 10. And for the Dolphins, they look to bounce back against the same Queens College team tomorrow.
Got to just turn the page. That's all you can do. But a very disappointing Friday night for the Dolphins.
No doubt about that. But again, a chance for CSI to make things right tomorrow when they take on this same Queens College team. Those games will also be streamed on the ECC network as part of a conference doubleheader. Game 1 right now is scheduled to begin at 12 p.m. That is subject to change due to the inclement weather in the area, so stay tuned to CSIDolphins.com for any time changes for tomorrow's doubleheader. As for us here on CSI Sportsnet, our next baseball broadcast will be on Tuesday, April 12th at 3:30 p.m. when the Dolphins take on Dominican College in a single 9-inning non-conference matchup. Tomorrow, we are scheduled to be on the air for CSI Dolphins softball. That game begins at 1:30 p.m. Again, 1:30 p.m. first pitch for softball game 1 tomorrow, as that game has been pushed back an hour. So be sure to tune in for that if you're a fan of CSI Dolphins softball. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman, and for Nick Durst and all of us here at the College of Staten Island, thank you for watching. Once again, our final score, Queens College 6, the College of Staten Island 4 in 10 innings. Our next broadcast is tomorrow when Dolphins softball takes on Malloy College at 1:30 p.m. If you can't attend the game, be sure to join us right back here on the ECC Network for that broadcast, and enjoy the rest of your night.